Good evening, City Council members. For the past few weeks, you, your residents, and the massive amounts of tourists that you receive have seen some troubling things. It's not uncommon for dead fish to wash up on shores. Sometimes things like plastic pollution happen and straws find their ways into the water. However, in your case, these numbers of dead fish have skyrocketed. My task was to ascertain what is causing this spike in dead fish washing on shore. And I believe that I've found a solution to your problem. Your city is bustling with tourists, and people and fishermen are included. In an initial survey of the fish washing up on shore, I have noticed that the vast majority of these fish are in fact invasive species. Invasive species are known to decimate entire ecosystems and cause havoc on animal life and plant life. After a quick experiment, I noticed traces of a chemical called rotenone within the cells of the washed up fish. Rotenone is both naturally occurring toxin and an artificial toxin coming in the form of a pesticide. Rotenone is a chemical found in plants surrounding subtropical areas and is often found in the roots of these plants. One example where you can find rotenone out in the wild is from the Daris plant, which is part of the Lonchocarpus species. The most common use for this chemical is as a pesticide and to kill off invasive species. But of course, since the chemical is non-targeted, it does have the potential to kill not only the invading species, but the indigenous species along with it. Rotenone, when used effectively by scientists, is very useful to assess the overall diversity and ecosystem that has contributed to much of our current knowledge about animal species in the water, and it assesses the overall diversity and ecosystem and has contributed so much to our identification guidelines. It essentially works by blocking and stopping cellular respiration at the coenzyme of NADH. NADH dehydrogenase stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide plus hydrogen. It targets the mitochondria and reduces the energy being produced, which blocks cellular uptake. Reducing cellular uptake affects the oxygen concentration within the cells. When oxygen levels fall or are reduced, there is a shift from aerobic metabolism to anaerobic metabolism, which leads to the accumulation of lactic acids, which also reduces adenine triphosphate, which is the energy that is required to produce oxygen and break down glucose. In simpler terms, it shuts down the normal functions done by the cells until eventually the entire cell is oversaturated with lactic acid and no longer can produce the means to fight off and stop the lactic acid from building up. Much like any other toxic chemical, the amount of how long it is used can amplify the effects. I believe some local fishermen have been using the chemical to eliminate the invasive species in order to catch the indigenous fish that have better meat and sell better in shops and to restaurants. The consequences that the fishermen didn't consider was the fact that rotenone also kills the fish that they desire to catch and sell. As far as the effect on humans, there are still studies on how it affects mammals and how it affects human processes. Some studies have linked rotenone to cause diseases such as Alzheimer's or dementia. However, most sources say that rotenone will oxidize with excessive heat and it breaks down in the stomach. So ultimately, it's not harmful to humans. As far as your fish problem, the dead fish will not cause any harm to the community or to the tourists. However, I do recommend that efforts are to be made to remove the dead fish as soon as possible and urge fishermen to search for alternative solutions in order to catch their fish that they desire and alternative solutions to kill off the invasive species. Thank you so much for your time.